Hey everybody, it's your buddy's pal Anthony. Today we're talking Ghostbusters Back in Town #1. This is a limited series from Dark Horse Comics and it's supposed to bridge the gap between Ghostbusters Afterlife and Ghostbusters Frozen Empire. Spoilers for issue 1 after the intro. Steve, hit it please. We open and we have a couple of workers reinstalling the sign on the front of the firehouse. We have the family traveling to New York, and actually a little interesting note, I just assumed they lived in New York and then they went out to Somerville in Ghostbusters Afterlife. In the comic, they make it seem like it's their first time coming to New York, or at least it's the kids' first time coming to New York, and then I did a little research, and it actually turns out, according to GhostbustersFandom.com, they did live in Chicago, which makes sense because in Frozen Empire, spoilers, Callie is actually wearing a Chicago Cubs shirt, and I was like, oh, that's pretty weird considering that they lived in New York. So, little thing, I don't know if anybody noticed that or if it was just me, but they are originally from Chicago. Callie and Gary seem to be pretty excited about relocating and starting things back up. Phoebe and Trevor are a little whatever towards everything like kids are supposed to be. They arrive at the firehouse, they're greeted by Winston, who gives them a little bit of a tour. Trevor's very interested if Ecto made it there. Phoebe's interested if the gear has arrived safely. We have a couple of interesting little Easter eggs. We have the gavel of Judge Stephen Wexler behind a glass. And for those of you who don't remember, that's the judge from the start of Ghostbusters 2, whose tirade causes the Scolari brothers to materialize out of the ooze. We're reminded that the firehouse is not in the best shape it's ever been in. There's an electrical issue right away. Phoebe and Winston run down to the basement to make sure the containment unit is holding, and thankfully it is. Winston takes the kids off to the schools that he's enrolled them in. Phoebe's at the Zeddemore Academy, and it's very much back to her being, alone and a nerd and people making fun of her. Trevor's been texting Lucky this whole time, hardly getting a reply. Trevor gets enrolled in Midtown Tech. He asks the principal if there's an auto shop. He's told no, and he's not really happy with it. It seems weird because Winston just did this for the kids, and I'm sure he did it obviously out of a good place, but he didn't really take into account what they actually might want to do, and now that'll be a plot point, I guess. We get back to the firehouse, and everybody's having a little bit of an issue. Phoebe's dealing with dirty water. Callie's dealing with something leaking from the ceiling. The electricity fritzes if they're watching TV and use the microwave at the same time. There's really not a lot of ghost busting going on in this issue, and there's even little to really bridge the gap. I don't know, maybe if they had started the comic with them actually already having been back at the firehouse and in the middle of making some repairs, things of that nature. I don't really like that we've enrolled them and we're seeing them getting enrolled in school and we're seeing them not happy. It's only a 4-issue series, so I would rather that we got a little bit ahead of ourselves and they're in the schools that they want to be. They're studying the things that they want to do. Trevor is very clearly protective of Ecto-1, which is great. I like that for his character. Phoebe is still all about ghost busting and doesn't really want to do much else, and I'm sure there would have been a way to tie that in. But we're starting right at the beginning, so it's just annoying because we have to get there, and we only have 3 issues now to do it. Things look up for the group for a brief moment. They're all sitting on the floor of the firehouse. They're having some pizza. They're talking about fixing the place up, what they can tackle, things of that nature. And then it all falls apart. A ghost bug, a very disgusting one, materializes. Phoebe's ready. She springs into action. She's giving everybody orders. She tells Trevor that she's going to get the pack and you get the trap. Trevor doesn't listen to her. Phoebe screams for her mother to throw the trap. She doesn't throw the trap properly. She's also giving her mother lip, telling her how to use it. And, to which Callie gets annoyed and she's like, I know how to use the trap. And it doesn't really go well. They damage the car. They damage the firehouse in the battle. They do manage to catch the ghost, but that seems accidental at best. And as the issue comes to a close, we have a lot of infighting between Callie and Phoebe. Gary's mourning the loss of the fire pole, which he has spent most of the issue off-panel fixing, and Trevor is freaking out because of the damage to Ecto-1. As the issue ends, we have a disembodied voice, as you can see here. So it seems like there is going to be a big bad for this mini-series, which is fine, but again, I don't know, I get it, it's bridging the gap, but you're time jumping anyway because it doesn't show them packing up from Somersville and coming here. I think they could have time jumped just a little bit further ahead, let everybody get on some sort of footing. You know, maybe they're already ghost busting, things of that nature. There's 3 issues to go. I'm going to really try to reserve judgment until I read the whole thing from A to Z. However, issue 1 didn't really do it for me. The art fell a little bit flat, and I really hate critiquing that because I can't even draw a stick figure, but I don't know, it just seems kind of lacking in definition to me. The last panel on the last page, we have a silhouette of Ray standing outside of his store, and he's noticing all the green ectoplasm energy, this is what I'm assuming it is, funneling into the sewers, and that's the end of issue 1. I'm not going to rate it individually, I'm going to rate it as an entire series since there are only 4 issues. But that's Ghostbusters Back in Town issue number 1. Come back next week, we'll check out issue number 2 and see if maybe there's another time jump and things aren't flowing a little bit better for our characters. Thank you for listening, thank you for watching. If you have a minute, head over to YouTube, find us at Nerd Affiliated over there. For just $1 a month, you can become part of the Nerd Affiliated Army. You can give us suggestions on what to talk about on our live shows, what to do videos on. You can even join us for our live shows if you're so inclined. Also, head on over to nerdaffiliated.com. We have a merch store. You can pick up yourself or a loved one the gift of some sweet, sweet Nerd Affiliated merch. We have 2 live shows for you guys to tune into. Monday mornings, 9 a.m.-ish Eastern Time. The boss does a recap of the previous week's nerd news. He breaks out the Excel sheets and goes over box office numbers, talks about some of the hot topics that have come out, and it's a good time. Get start your week off right and tune into Nerdy Coffee. Also on Thursdays, 8:15-ish in the p.m. Eastern Time, the boss does Hey Archer Live. Everybody gets together, have a drink, maybe a guest comes on, talk about whatever they're working on. 2 different shows, 2 different vibes, both a great time, as the man says. Thank you again. Steve, play me out of here, please.